So we should be on. We should be on. So hello everyone. How are we all doing? I'm hoping that I'm live and I'm hoping that Rose is with me. Can you all see and hear her? Hello, Rose. You can see and hear us. Oh, thank you so much, Sam, for that. Right, I don't know who's in the chat. I gather we've got quite a few people. I haven't looked back, but what I'm going to do this time is just instead of saying hi individually to everybody, I'm going to say hi to you all. Thank you so much for being here. This is a really exciting one. I actually can't wait for this. Can't wait. So, as you know, we've got a brand new puzzle going on today. Another large piece count and a beautiful one at that. So it's the 7,000 piece six portals puzzle by Ravensburger. And even more exciting, the artist is here with me, Rose. So welcome, Rose. Thank you so much for coming and chatting to us today. This is so exciting. You can't hear Rose, Sarah. She's not. She's not said anything. Hi, Vicky Rose. Great to see you both. Can't hear Rose. Can hear me. Rose muted. Oh no. Right. Okay. Oh no. Right. Okay. We're working on this. We're working on the sound. Okay. Cool. That sounds like right. So if I go the guest. Oh no, that's not the one. I turn off monitor and output. So that should work. Right. Um let's try okay, let me try this. Do you want to just try chatting, Rose, and see?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's see. Somebody was like,
Right,
it's not a proper Vicky stream, but I had a tech issue.
yeah, I just saw that. Thanks for that.
Oh,
Right, can you hear Rose now? Please tell me you can. I really hope you
hello.
can.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sound on? Yes, we have sound.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank
Yay!
goodness. Right. What's the volume like? Is it too low, too high, or is it fine?
Oh, I'm
Hear Rose, but
quiet.
quiet.
That's
Right.
usually
So,
not what people say about me.
how about that now? Because I've turned you up, so I'm hoping that maybe you're a wee bit louder now. Do you want to try just saying
Hello, I'm
something,
here. I'm
anything?
here. Am I loud enough now? I could sing. Actually, I'm terrible at singing. That's like the one thing I can't do. I could draw, I can paint, I could ride a horse. I can't sing. My
I've
volume is.
got the, I've got, oh, perfect. Ruth says
Yes,
perfect.
yes, I can hear. She has to talk. I'm talking pet. Ah, I like being perfect.
Better. Yeah, perfect.
I'm
Okay, I think
going
we've got
to
it now.
alter my. You know what? I need to raise the height of my iPad so I can see you guys all a little bit better. And I think
Yes.
I'm going to
Okay,
use
so
puzzle
it
boxes.
seems to work now. Part of the problem is the delay. Sometimes there's a delay with the chat, so it's like say something, and it's like I already did. Um, right, good. Okay, so the sound seems to be fine, and we're all good. So can I dive in with puzzle talk? I'm
Yes.
hoping so. All right, so we're doing the six portals, as I said. Welcome, Rose, again. Thank you so much for being here. Now that
Thank
they
you.
can all hear you. Um, so what I'm starting with is bag A, or the left-hand bag. which is these three portals here, the orange, uh, let's say yellow or gold, and green. They're the ones I'm starting with. And oh, you love the backdrop. I assume she means your backdrops, Rose.
Oh, thank you. That's actually my puzzle collection.
Right, so I'm going to start off with an apology. I was supposed to be way more organised with my sorting and have put pictures up by now, but I haven't because I've like literally been doing it today. So that's my me not being very organised. But it actually went differently to how I was expecting it to go. So overall, I've sorted into the three portals. So this here is the orange one, and it fills a Ravensburger 1000 piece box. This one is the green one, and this one, or I should say these two, is the yellow. But the reason this is in two boxes is because I decided to start with this one. I was going to start with the orange and move across. But as I was sorting it, there were just things about the yellow portal that really stood out to me. In particular, the sky. Love the sky. And all the oranges and purples and stuff. So this is like a micro sort from the main pile, which is only half done. But I will discuss that with you.
Okay.
What I'm actually going to start with though is the edges, which are in here. I separated the edges and I usually put them in this wee tin. So I'm going to actually do the edges, and then I think I'm going to tackle this sky in the yellow section, which look at it. It's so good. I love a sunset sky. The colours are just so nice. I love how you've got purple in there as well.
Thank you. Thank
As well
you.
as
I
like
think I have a tendency to be drawn to that comment. Actually, a lot of my puzzles have that sunset sky because it lets me do the yellows and the oranges with the purples, and even pulling it out to a little bit of blue with stars and
yeah.
that sort of detail. So I really I love painting that color combination.
Well, there's something in all three skies that I can go at. Like this
Yeah.
balloon stood out to me a lot and stuff as well. And well, this sky's quite obscured by the tree, but
Mhm.
it's just those colours. There's something about those colours. They really drew my eye. So I thought what I would do is the edge and then focus on this sky and probably some of the lighter um, frame work as well. So
Mhm.
that from a puzzling perspective during this live stream, that is what I'm going to be going for today. And I'll do a proper kind of finished sort, probably off the camera, and I'll post some photos of that. But apologies, I haven't already got the photos. Or it was just quite last minute sorting going on.
You're okay, Vicky. You're human. You're allowed to have other busy things going on in your life. You're human. You're a mother. You have a lot going on. Like, it's okay. We love you. We forgive you. It's totally fine.
Thank you so much.
Oh, all
But
right. I'm going
I've
to
got enough
pop
to go
off
on.
screen. Oh, sorry. I'm going to vanish off screen for about 30 seconds. I really want to raise my height of my iPad so I could see your comments, because otherwise I feel like I'm crouching down. So, Vicky, I'll let you continue your introduction, and I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Perfect. No bother at all. Well, I will. These are the edges, by the way, folks. I will move over here a bit because I've got a little less screen real estate to work with, but that is okay. And while we wait for Rose to come back, I will see what everybody is saying in the chat. So, is it on purpose that Rose's square is that much bigger? So yes, it is. I can make it smaller, and I'm able to make it bigger. But the reason I've made it bigger this time around is because when we did the test live stream, um, Rose was showing us some of her puzzles and some of her images, and but she was just a tiny wee screen in the corner, so it was hard to see. So that's why I've purposely made Rose a little bit bigger in case she wants to show anything. But Just give either one of us a shout if you want me to make it either slightly smaller or slightly bigger, because I can do that. But yes, so in answer to your question, it is deliberate. But because I'm just starting the puzzle, there should be enough space for me to work within today, so we can make adjustments. You love the
Okay.
turtle. I know, me too. It's so cute, isn't it? Is that the tortoise in the middle one?
Yes, that's technically, yeah, a tortoise. I actually added him for my husband. My children, they all,
Oh,
sorry, this is going to be just story time. And if my family sees this, they're probably going to be cringing at various times because so much of my family and my life come out through my puzzles. Because, you know, when you spend out and hundreds of hours drawing and painting an image, you know, you have to find additional meaning. And that's what delights me. So
yeah.
my children often pick on my husband for being the turtle, or well, he likes turtles. He's just kind of become his totem animal,
Oh,
because he's a very deliberate individual in the way he does things. So I like making, so we just make turtles for him. My daughter likes making him little clay turtles and tortoises. And we live in Orlando, Florida, and we certainly have a lot of turtles and tortoises around here, a lot of nice species variation. So that's why
yeah.
I drew that guy in front and center, and I created him. I was like, Jamil's my husband's name. You know, I'm drawing this guy for you. And I quite enjoyed, if you look at the texture on his legs, it's very knobby and done and deliberate. I exaggerated those individual scales. And it also kind of reflects the shape language of the surrounding rocks in that desert scape. So the yellow one, in my mind, I think of it as the desert scape. And I do have technical names for all of them, except I changed them a couple times, so I can't remember the exact names at the moment. But in my mind, I just call it the desert scape. But yes,
Actually, those knobbly bits on the legs, they made it the pieces recognizable. As soon as I
yeah.
saw them, I was like, "Oh, this is the tortoise leg. I could tell." There's a definite texture there, isn't there? So that was helpful.
I'm
Right.
watching.
So just, I guess everybody just fire away with any questions you have for Rose. I'm gonna listen and talk whenever I have a question, but if you have a question for me and I'm puzzling, um, just tag me, and I'm sure Rose will get my attention, and I'll
We'll try. We'll tag team
I'll
this. We'll
answer you.
make it work.
Yes, that sounds like a plan.
Once you get further into the image, guys, I'm so looking forward to having Vicky like hold up individual puzzle pieces and see if I can identify where they come from, because that's often when I'm puzzling with my family. So I'll do that with my cousins and my mother. They're the big puzzlers, and my sister as well. Over the holidays especially, it'll be enjoyable because I'll hold up a piece and be like, Rosie, where's this from? And I'll be able to tell them exactly where it is. And it's quite delightful, because often there's a delay too between when I'm creating these images and when they become puzzles. And I mean, it could be literally a year or two, because that's how long the licensing and manufacture process takes, you know, by the time they get into retail and whatnot. So for me, it's also a little bit of a strolling down memory lane as I'm looking at the images and trying to remember where everything was. But somewhere it's there, it's buried in the back of my mind. I also have interesting situations where I'll like look at a component and have a very distinct memory of where I was or what was going on while I was painting or drawing. So it's like almost like my art becomes a manifestation of my memory in some ways. It's just very, I don't know if I'm going too far out there for y'all, but that's what it's like being a puzzle illustrator.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Totally
Okay,
get that.
sorry, serious trying to answer my question, but Clark asked me if I started puzzling this with my mother. So she has come down to visit. So story time about me, just, you know, I'm originally from Rochester, New York, or rather from the Syracuse, New York area. And about 3 years ago, I moved to Orlando, Florida, and my husband is now a software developer for Walt Disney World, which is quite fun. And I've got stories about that. But so we live here. So my family comes down to visit, which is quite nice for them in the wintertime. And so my mom just came down about a week ago, and we've started to set up our puzzle table. And we're hoping to dive into this. So to answer your question, Clark, yes, like we're going to get going. Though actually right now I have to finish up. I have another puzzle, my Found It puzzle. And right now we're doing that because I wanted to make sure that the colors on that printed vibrantly enough. So we're finishing up that one first, and then we're going to dive into 6 portals. And I see I have another couple questions here. Is the rose the squirrel chipmunk holding a reference to you? Well, I do like drawing roses all over my art. I think in almost every single one of my puzzle designs, you're going to find a rose or a rose bush hidden. You're also going to find a fig tree. So you know what? Actually, before I talk too much further, I'm going to pull out my poster for 6 portals so I can hold up these things and better illustrate what I'm talking about. So roll over here.
Yeah, I never spotted the squirrel with the rose. I knew there was one in the tree, but I straight away, as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait, where is this? And then I saw it there, little tiny thing. Cute.
For those of you, if you're cringing at the fact that I use painter's tape on my box, my sample over here.
Oh, I love having the poster to be able to look at. It's because it's so much bigger than the box image. One thing I like about the edges of the portals is the top of the portal is really quite a different color to the bottom of the portal. Like you've got a deep red down here, and then it's a really bright orange up here. I like that because it's like I suppose it's like a gradient, isn't it?
It's almost
But
like the
it's
artist designed it that way to help you out.
exactamundo. Yeah,
And
because well, I
also
was just
it
about to
makes
say it's helping me a lot.
it's a fun visual trick as well, because it when you're dealing with art like this, darker things recede and it anchors. So it also makes the borders a little more dynamic and visually interesting. So it serves multiple
Yeah.
purposes. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Well, I don't always with big puzzles. I don't always start with the edge. Obviously, it's quite common for people to start with the edge. Um, with the large piece counts, I don't always. So what I envisaged initially was that I was going to go portal by portal and just attach the edge on when I reach that portal. But with this one, I thought, you know what, I could probably just do the edge, and there'll be, won't necessarily be relying on the inside of the puzzle to put the edge on, because there's a lot of detail and there's a lot going on in them. So I thought, oh, yeah, I'll go for the edge this time. So yeah, it definitely helps.
Okay. Oh, I'm seeing a few more questions. Oh My Trash asked me, since I live in Orlando, are you a Jaguars or a Bucks fan? I am not too much of a sports individual. And like my family roots for the Knicks, like that the basketball team from New York, like that's who and Syracuse Orange, so that's basketball. So I'm sorry I haven't converted to any Orlando sports teams at the moment. So I don't know if that's a disappointing answer. Let me see if there's other questions. The decision to have the puzzle 7,000 pieces instead of 5,000 or 9,000, was that your idea or Ravensburger? That was Ravensburger. I may as well tell you the whole story about how I became the illustrator for this image. It was February of 2024. Wait, 24? No, it wasn't. Yes, it was just after my son was born. He was born in February of 2020. I have 3 kids. It all blurs together. So I had just finished so I work for, okay, let me back up. I'm a freelancer. So
Mhm.
I work with all these different puzzle companies, but I'm not technically their employee. And
Yeah.
what happens is I've got very good relationships with a lot of these art directors. And sometimes when they have a particular project in mind, they will reach out and contact me. Well, my son, my third child, was born in February of 2024. And I had just cleared out my schedule. Like I had just finished any puzzles I had due to other companies. I think I was doing work probably on the White Mountain puzzles at the time, if I recall correctly. And I was like, okay, my schedule's perfect. Everything's calm. I'm going to enjoy a maternity leave, so to speak, because in the US, that's like, I know over in the UK, in other countries, you have much more generous maternity leave, but over here in the US, it's like
Right.
nothing. But I kind of, as a freelancer, I had the ability to say, let me just set this time aside. So my son was just about 2 weeks old, and I got an email from one of the Ravensburger art directors, and they're like, hey, we're launching this 7,000 piece line. We think your art would be fantastic for it. I think they had been looking at like the Four Portals image, or Portals of the Four Realms. I think that's what the title was,
Yeah.
which actually ended up being a Schmidt puzzle. Here, I'll just show you that one. Actually, I won't show you that one because then I'm going to pull down an entire pile. If you go to my website, all of my puzzles are listed. So that's rosecatcon.com, or if you just Google rosecatcon, you'll get my website. There's a puzzles link. So if you want, look at all these things I'm talking about in greater detail, it's all there. Anyway, so they're like, hey, can you do this for us? Can you send us sketches? Can you make this happen? And here I'm sitting here, I have a 2-week-old baby, and I'm like, but it's Ravensburger, and I love Ravensburger. And honestly, any puzzle company that approached me, I would probably be like, yeah, but I mean, Ravensburger saying, this is 7,000 pieces. This is new. We want you to do this. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, I have a 2-week-old baby. I gotta make this happen. So, the art directors are very kind, very accommodating. And I was like, give me a month or two and I'll give you the sketches. And I sent them a few different designs, and the one they definitely gravitated towards was Six Portals. And if you go, I definitely have posted various sketches of my art online if you want to see the process. I'm going on a tangent from the question. The question was, who decided? It was Ravensburger. And then starting in about May of that year till about October, I did the majority of the painting process, and I did that while my son was napping. Like I lived for
Oh,
nap time. I do most of my painting at this point. I use an iPad Pro, Procreate, Apple Pencil. I am a classically trained illustrator, so I do draw in watercolors, acrylics, pencil. Like that's how I do a lot of my sketching is often real media. But when it comes to the final art, I will do digital paint. So everything you see is still, I drew every single stroke, but the paint, so to speak, is digital, because we need to
yeah.
be able to do that. And if an art director asks for a change, and that's definitely happened with a few of my designs, they'll ask for like a minor modification. So that was a thing that happened. And somehow with a newborn baby and at the time, 9-year-old and 7-year-old, I pulled it off. It was awesome. And the art directors were quite pleased. And that's the story of how I came to do Six Portals. And of course, I had already worked for Ravensburger for quite a bit at that point. Dragon Valley, which is the big painting you see on the wall behind me, that was the first puzzle I ever designed. And that was a Ravensburger 2,000 piece. And then I also done the Tropical Dragons Take Flight, the Sea Unicorn Haven, which they renamed Beautiful Sea Unicorn and Friends, which I'm like, it sounds like a children's show. I love it. But Ravensburger definitely knows what they're doing in terms of marketing, and as does all the puzzle companies I work with. So it's
Yeah.
not uncommon for them to change the names. I'm sorry, Vicky, did you? I'm just like,
No, I was just agreeing. Sorry. Yeah.
it was kind of funny. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat. Oh, we're echoing. I don't hear an echo. No echo here. Oh, somebody else is having an issue. blah, 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 blah. Cool.
It's
Vicky, I'm sorry. Do you
nothing.
have any questions? Or you're just happily puzzling?
I am. This is great. This is
Yeah.
great for
Oh,
me.
you're making nice progress there with the border. Oh, I
Yeah,
can't wait to puzzle my own border. I love those big flat pieces of color.
yeah. It's lovely because it's such vivid color as well. So it's a really nice part of the puzzle to do. Just the edge. Um, what I'm doing here, just as a small explanation, is I'm building it on pieces of foam board. So when I'm doing large piece counts, particularly on a live stream, I tend to build it on smaller bits of board. So
Mhm.
as this gets bigger, there'll be a lot more moving around and shuffling about and stuff. But to start with, we'll probably just have nice rows of edges going on just now. But I'm getting there with these oranges and reds. I haven't got to the greens yet, but the oranges and reds are going strong. But I'm just enjoying listening to what you're saying.
Ah.
So
Oh, this is so much fun. I feel like I'm just hanging out, and my house is so peaceful because my husband's taken the kids out for the afternoon. And this is just, oh, Vicky, this is just such a joy. And I enjoy also reading all your comments in the chat. Oh, the Backerkit thing. I haven't even talked about that, but I'm curious. For those of you who are, I'm not switching the windows, but for anyone who's following my Backerkit campaign, do we know what I'm up to? I don't want to switch off because I'm afraid if I lose my window here. For those of you who
oh,
are unaware, this morning I launched my first ever crowdfunding campaign. It's on Backerkit, which if you're not familiar with Backerkit, it's just like Kickstarter. And if you're not familiar with Kickstarter, it's basically like, here's this cool project we want to do. Let's make it happen and let's pre-fund it basically to help with manufacturing costs for lack of a better description. So the Backerkit project that I'm trying for my inaugural project is to pair an audiobook with a puzzle design. Because for those of you who don't know, in addition to doing all this lovely fantasy illustration, I'm an author. I've always been an author, and many of the puzzles are tied to the universe of Centurnia. And the more I'm drawing the puzzles, the more I'm being um, more comfortable with letting in bits of the universe into my designs. So with the campaign, we're actually for the first time pairing one of the Centurnia audiobooks directly with a puzzle. So there is a 1,000-piece puzzle available. It is going to be the aquarium gown. It's a very lovely fantasy image that is in a tower room, and you have one of the characters from Centurnia. Her name is Misa Winter, and she's a dream spinner mage. So she can control and manipulate the dreams of others and kind of weave through their dreams. So she enjoys making very fanciful imagery. And in this particular image, which is a pivotal scene from the second Centurion novel, she's wearing a gown, and the gown flows between fabric and basically an aquarium. So there's fish literally moving through the fabric of her dress. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to visually design this. And so I've got a sketch posted on the Backerkit campaign, which we definitely funded this morning, which was amazing in like less than 5 hours, which is awesome. And I'm so grateful to the puzzle community for making that happen. And now we're moving towards our stretch goals. So if you're curious about that project, Vicky was kind enough to put a link in the description of this video, but I haven't checked recently to see what my funding is up to.
so
So
did
can
you just put
stuff
that up earlier today?
Yeah,
Did
I
that just
launched
go up
9
today?
a.m. this morning, Orlando time. So, cool. All right, we're at 1,458. So
Oh, amazing.
awesome,
Amazing.
so awesome. And that's so fantastic because what that funding does is it's going to help with because you have to. So let me clarify. Most of the puzzles I do, as far as manufacturing, that's on the puzzle companies. They do what they do. They market. They do their own thing. I just provide them the image. They pay me a royalty. It's really happy. But I wanted to try my hand at having my own puzzles manufactured so that I could completely control the image. And I really wanted to tie it right into Centurnia. So
Yeah.
with this campaign, we're doing the micro puzzles and then also the aquarium ball ground image. And then I'm also funding the audiobook and paying my narrator, because I very strongly feel that creatives deserve to be compensated for their work. I know sometimes audiobooks are narrated either, now we have AI, which is, I don't even want to get into that conversation. But also sometimes audiobook narrators are paid on a royalty rate. And I much prefer to pay my narrator up front for all the hours and hours and hours of time. I mean, it's 18 hours of finished audio. So the amount of time she has put in to prep work and produce this is just incredible. And my narrator is Jamie Lynn Marcos. So she's an actress who has done work for commercials and video games and advertising. And she's actually been a performer for the Walt Disney Company, like a live performer. So if you've ever been to, actually, I don't know how much I can technically say but if you've been to Hollywood Studios or Epcot or the Galactic Star Cruiser, you might have seen her. So she has a fantastic voice and she's really able to bend her voice in amazing ways. So she narrated the first book and she's doing the second book. And so, sorry, I'm off. That's a big, long tangent. That's not about puzzles, but it's, what I'm working on.
Yeah, so just to kind of reiterate what you were saying, Rose,
Yes.
that's I've linked that in the description for it's Backerkit, isn't it? The name of
Yes,
the
I went
company.
with Backerkit for this one.
So the link for that, the Backerkit campaign for the puzzle and the book, is in the description. So if you want to support that, you can find that down in the description below. And also, I think you linked it in the Discord server as well, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you're in the Discord, it's over there too. I love the idea of this is something I was going to talk about. Um, the puzzle being alongside a book, like a story.
Mhm.
It's like when I was a kid, um, I devoured fantasy novels. That was my favorite genre, and I mean, I've always loved fantasy, and everybody here knows I'm a big dragon fan and all this, all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of that's come from my love of fantasy. And like with anybody, who enjoys reading books, you enjoy the immersiveness of it. The whole escape thing. You can completely get lost in it, and having that puzzle, which is another immersive thing, a hobby that you can do. I get lost in a puzzle just as easily as I do a book. Doing both, I would imagine, is just a really nice way of just completely getting lost in the world, in that universe that you're reading about, but also puzzling in front of you. It's coming to life in front of you, and I just really love that idea. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. It's a unique combination. And so a lot of my fan base, they're puzzlers, cross stitchers, and diamond dots, like these three
Oh,
activities.
diamond painting.
Yes, diamond painting.
Yeah.
And the pairing of the audiobook has just come together so naturally in a way I didn't even think about it until people started to tell me that they were listening to, because the first audiobook already released about a year ago, and they said that they were enjoying listening to the story and doing I think Magic Study, Autumn Castle Festival, Dragon's Race into the Night, those images directly tie into the Centurnia universe. And they say, it's cool because I'm listening to the story, and if I mention a creature or a place, and then they have the realization that they just puzzled that together. And this is
Yeah.
something that I want to explore with more deliberacy, as far as like how far can I take this idea of puzzling and audiobooks and bring them together. So this is my first little experiment to see how this goes. And we're going to see how much further we can take it, because I mean, really, the amount of time you're listening to an audiobook, the amount of time you're doing a puzzle, like how many puzzles would fit the time span of listening to one audiobook, and is something like micro puzzles better? So we're just exploring. This is like a whole new idea that
Yeah.
already seems to go well together.
Yeah, it'd be good to get the feedback on it, for people who do it them alongside each other. It'd be good to for you to hear, presumably, um, how they experienced it and what it was like, and which now I was reading about this earlier. Is it like a later chapter? The scene in the puzzle comes from a later chapter in the book. Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah, yeah. It comes
So
from
maybe
chapter. Mhm.
maybe it'd be kind of cool if, like, when you reach that chapter, puzzles come together enough that you actually can see what you know what I mean? That it's like
Yeah,
timed
yeah.
right.
I mean, hopefully that,
That'd be
yeah,
fun.
everybody puzzles at a different rate. And to decide which image I was going to do for this particular campaign, I put it up to a vote. And I have other images that come from earlier in the story. So I had an image that was from chapter 1, an image that was from about, I think it was like chapter 25 or like more of the middle of the book, and then one later in the book. And majority, because I really couldn't commit to doing all three of them up front, because I have to balance things with my time as far as how much time I put to doing. I'll call these personal puzzles, even though they're to be shared and sold for public consumption. But there's a difference between a puzzle that I do for that and a puzzle that I might do for White Mountain or Ravensburger or another company. It's just kind of two different approaches that I take. So I had to be careful with how I was balancing my time. So I couldn't do all three. So I decided, let's do a vote, let's do one. And if we meet our stretch goals, we'll be able to do all three. But to kind of make a compromise, that's when I was able to do the micro puzzles. And these have been little puzzles that I've been hoping to do for a while, and I needed a good reason. So the micro puzzles all relate to elements of the story as well. So that
How
is.
big? How many pieces are the micro puzzles?
Oh my goodness, they're okay. I want to, for those of you in the chat, is micro puzzles, is this something that you're all familiar with, or is this a new? I should go grab my sample. I just have to show you guys what these looks like. It's the craziest thing. Okay, I'm gonna pop back out. I'm gonna go grab my sample.
That's good. I'll do some chatting. I like chatting, as you know. So Rose, oh, that sounds amazing, Rose. Yeah, the Backerkit campaign does sound amazing. How did you come up with the world? I'll let Rose answer that one.
Okay.
Um, well, thank you, Sam. Sam gave you an update on the Backerkit, so thank
Oh,
you for that.
there's oops.
Imagining Lord of the Rings with Aragorn charging towards the gates of Mordor, and then everyone rushes off to do a puzzle. Sorry. Oh dear, I like it. Right, I'll let you carry on.
Okay, micro puzzle. So this in my hand, this is a different design. So this is not my design in my hand, but this is the manufacturer, because the company is literally called Micro Puzzles. So
Yeah.
they come in these adorable little capsules, and the size is actually 4 inches by 6 inches. So if you think about the size of a photograph and the size of these pieces, they're very sturdy, they're very bright, but they are definitely tiny. So sometimes people have the misconception that micro puzzles are for children, and I would say they're more for maybe older children and very patient adults with fantastic eyesight. But they are, I'm going to hold up a darker piece so you can see the size, but they are like this. Okay, let me get this so close to my camera.
Oh
See
my
if you can see
gosh, that's tiny.
that. They're super tight. You know what? Let me hold it up next to a standard puzzle piece. Let me see if I've got an open one here. Is this open? Some of these
I've
puzzles
heard of
are.
micro puzzles, but I've never actually done one yet. Welcome, Wolf Supernova. Welcome, thank you for joining.
Oh, this is open. This is from my mini puzzle set. So here, this is a fantastic comparison. Okay, so this is a standard from a 1,000 piece set, and then that's a micro piece. So it's really like half the size.
Yeah.
Um, so it's challenging, but they're very nice for if you're on a plane, if you're traveling, if you're at a restaurant, you have a group of people, you want something interesting to do at the table. They're a different experience. So I was very excited to be able to put those together. And it's interesting too, because it's a whole different type of logic for how I design the images for them. Because if you look at the micro puzzle designs, you'll notice that I skewed my style more towards a graphic design style, a lot more bold outlines, bold colors. Because when you're puzzling at this scale, if you have too many muddy, painterly areas, it becomes challenging, like too challenging. Like, there's just the right amount of challenge. You all know what I'm talking about. Like, you want your puzzle to be satisfying, but not too easy. And that's my
Yes.
job as a puzzle illustrator, to try to figure out and navigate what's the best image to achieve that goal.
Do you find that tricky to do sometimes, or have you got the like kind of a knack for it now? Is there a
I
methodology?
definitely, I feel pretty confident in what I'm doing at this point, because also I've worked with so many different art directors from different companies, and they've given me good advice over the years for how to approach things. I think sometimes I get myself into trouble because I like to push the limits. So one of my recent puzzles that I designed, found it, is a Centia image, and I don't have it behind me. It's on the dining room table. I wanted to create an image that was very dark and mysterious. So you have two characters from Centia, Jesse and Nico. They're in the center of the room. It's a very romantic, dark scene with bold, bright lighting in the center. So I was trying to figure out how, because I know dark puzzles are troublesome, right? So I need to be able to figure out how to make the darkness have some areas more blue, some areas more red, to clue the puzzler in. But as you're doing the puzzle, if you don't set yourself up with good lighting at home, it becomes a bigger challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, I mean, if somebody does that image, it might be a little more difficult for them than if they're doing like 6 portals where everything's bright and colorful. But at the same time, like, I wanted to make an image that, so to answer your question, like, sometimes I get in my own way as I'm trying to push the limits of what's an interesting puzzle design. All right.
Yeah. I got you. I'll let other people ask questions now. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
monopolizing you.
Oh, so Vicky, I had a question for you. You were talking about how you enjoyed reading fantasy as a kid, and so I definitely was also like devouring fantasy. So I'm curious, what were your favorite books in the fantasy genre?
So when I was really young, and I don't honestly remember this, but I've been told that it happened. When I was really young, my dad read us, me and my brother and sister, a set of books called The Belgariad, and by David Eddings. They're quite old now; they've been out a few years, but I know I completely forgot the story, like as I got older, because I was really young. I was the youngest. Um, but I remembered certain character names and stuff like that. So something about it must have stuck with me. And then when I was a bit older, I was at like primary school, and my brother had the books. He had the collection, and I went into his room and I just grabbed one of them, and I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. And I read it, and I just got totally hooked. And I just then I moved on to the Magician series. Raymond Feist.
That sounds really familiar. I'm
He did
trying.
a set of books called the Rift War Saga. In fact, he's done loads of them now. They're all in the kind of in the same universe, but I got into them, um, and then people started just recommending different books to me. So I read some of the Dragonlance books. Um, what else? I picked up Lord of the Rings. That actually, funnily enough, took me a while. Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings. I had to go at it a few times, but see, once I got past a certain point, then that's it. That was it. I was in.
Yeah,
And
I had the same experience because I wanted to read it because I mean that was really the cornerstone of modern fantasy. But it definitely like
absolutely,
because I read it as in high school when I was reading that, and I did. It took me a few. I had to really force myself, and at the time I was reading like Victor Hugo and Anna Karenina and like really dense books. But Lord of the Rings was definitely a good challenge. Did you ever read the Dragon Riders of Pern?
no, but the name rings a bell. Who's
Anne
the author
McCaffrey,
of that one?
the author.
Sorry?
Oh, Anne McCaffrey, that was the author because that would have been popular when we were younger. Um,
Yes, that was Anne McCaffrey was recommended to me several times, but I never got around to reading her for some reason. Who did you ever read book? I can't remember what the set's called, but there was a set of books, and the first one was called Orion. It was about like a girl mage.
mm,
I'm trying to think if that was Anne McCaffrey now. We're going back a few years, so
See, I
it's
have
just
this. I don't know if Vicky, you have this problem, but like when I was a teen and a young child, I would just like go to the library, get a book, and devour it, and just go book after book after book after book, and I would not always remember the authors or the titles. But like if you asked me up the story, I could remember bits of it because I was just such a serial reader and constantly reading. So I have trouble now remembering what I read. Did you ever read Mercedes Lackey?
who? Sorry,
Mercedes Lackey. She
no.
wrote Magic Pond, Magic's Promise, Magic, and she had a mage, elemental mages, which I quite enjoy. I'm going to look over the chat. What about everybody? We have a lot
Yeah,
of
we've
fantasy readers here.
gone off on a tangent here.
Yeah.
I did read the Robert Jordan, The Wheel of Time.
Oh, I definitely read that at some point. There was multiple books in that
Loved
series,
those.
wasn't there? I think I only read the
Yeah, there
first.
was loads. They were huge as well.
Yeah, I think I got through the first one. And then I was a big fan. I would read a little bit of Stephen King and then Anne Rice. I
Yes.
was really big into vampire books too, like Interview with the Vampire and those. I think I liked urban fantasy as well. Actually, that's another question, Vicky. Are you more of a, do you like urban fantasy, portal fantasy? Do you like your fantasy set in a medieval world or do you like a little bit of a modern twist? Like, what's your preference?
Um, I would say more, I don't know what you'd call it, I suppose epic fantasy, more like Lord of the Rings type
Yeah.
stuff. It's more
Yeah.
my thing. But, that doesn't mean I don't enjoy, urban stuff. Like, it depends on the writing, I think, sometimes, and the
Yeah.
story. But yeah, mostly it was the epic kind of medieval type stuff.
Yeah. That was Mercedes Lackey had some of her books were more in that where it was set in like she had one world of Valdemar and that was very medieval, but then she had her Elemental Mages series was set in like the 1900s, and that was quite enjoyable. And yeah, I think I have the same opinion you do. It's like it really depends on the author and how they present the world.
Yeah,
As long as it's good world building, it's like you know.
yeah, exactly.
I am. Oh, somebody mentioned Terry Pratchett. Of course, The Color of Magic, right? That was Terry Pratchett. If I got this wrong, I'm going to be so in trouble. Earth Sea. I never read the Earth Sea trilogy. Like I know that was good, but I was also big into Star Wars when I was a teenager, and I read a lot of the Star Wars expanded universe books. I think I like started in fantasy, and then I was in science fiction. Like went through this huge period of being really into sci-fi, and then I went into fantasy. Let's see. reading the
I
chat.
enjoy sci-fi, but more as movies. We were massive Star Wars movie fans in our
Mhm.
household. Has everybody got loads of questions for you? Or
Well, I think I put them on a tangent of talking about their favorite fantasy novels, which is quite fun.
this is good.
Quite good. Okay, Rose Cacon, do you regularly puzzle as a hobby? Well, the sad truth is, when so much of my time is occupied by drawing the puzzles, and I do have the challenge that I have young children, so like every other spare minute of my time, I don't have as much time as I used to. But for me, it becomes a very social activity. So every holiday that I'm with my mom and my cousins and my sister, that's when we pull out the puzzles, and it becomes like a puzzle marathon. So it feels like puzzling becomes more of a community event than doing. And I certainly do individual puzzles, and I puzzle with my kids. I think that's what I tend to do more than anything else these days. And they have like the children's puzzles, the Ravensburger puzzles, is it Crocodile Creek. There's a brand of puzzles that are good floor puzzles. I tend to do that with them, so it's
Mhm.
not so much giving myself the time to do big 1,000-piece puzzles anymore. So I'm looking at the chat. By the way, if you are in the chat and you had a question previously and I missed it, it's not because I was like deliberately ignoring you. It's just because I missed it. So feel free if you still had a burning question and you want to put it up, I'd be happy to answer it. And Vicky, now I'm looking at the screen. You are making good progress over there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I think I've got a few that I've missorted. There's
Mhm,
maybe a couple of edge pieces missing, but
mhm,
the ones I've got, I think, are
mhm.
mostly together. So I'll be
Ravensburger is
moving on to another
nice
pile
because you don't
soon.
have false fits, and that's looking good. Looking good.
Yeah, I know, false fits are the worst.
Mhm,
The only time I get slightly confused sometimes with large piece counts is when you reach the join. You know
mhm.
how there's like a join in the puzzle where they've, I don't know if because it's how it's cut or something. So you might have a piece that fits, but it like picture wise, but it might be
Mhm.
slightly bigger than the one next to it. So that
Yeah.
throws me sometimes. But apart from that, it's going good.
This is so much fun. I love answering all the questions and just seeing all the side conversations happening. So maybe we've got what 100 people in the chat. Am I understanding
That's
that
amazing. Thank you all for
correctly?
being here.
This is hilarious. Like, can we just stop and look at the amazingness and absurdity that there are 100 people around the globe who are taking their Saturday afternoon to watch two women, one who is in the UK, one who is in Orlando, Florida, and we're just talking about puzzles. And this is fun. And
Exactly.
it's just like amazing. There's something
What
really great and wonderful about that.
I can't think of a better way to spend a Saturday night, if I'm honest. Because it's the evening time here.
How are we doing on time? Do you know we've been chatting for an hour now? Holy
It
cow!
flies. It really flies. Honestly, it does. It's because we're having so much fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, if I keep putting my hands up to my ears, it's because my headphones start to come out when I'm talking a lot. So I'm not scratching my ears or anything like that. So this is where I'm leaving the edge. My board doesn't fit the whole edge together, so I just have lots of lines. But this is as far as I've come with the pieces that I had separated. So there we have it. Some
Mhm.
lovely edges.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot this board underneath. This is what it gets like when I have lots of the puzzle together. I end up doing a lot of kind of like
Hmm.
just switching boards around. So blank canvas, and I'm going to start to work on this lovely sky. So I've already separated some pieces, but I have a bunch still left in the box, so I will just focus on them
Hmm.
and yeah, get this sky together. I know. So you were talking earlier actually about a video you watched of mine where I do the nature documentary with the cat.
Had, oh my, you had my son was laughing like so hard. It was just like, it's just cute.
So yeah, that was I was channeling David Attenborough there.
Yes.
Um, but that the puzzle that he was on was the Magical Dragon Forest.
Mhm.
It was section B, I think it was. And this sky here puts me in mind of some of the sky in that puzzle. I know
Mhm.
you didn't do that puzzle, but there's a bit of it on the right side where it's bright oranges and
Mhm.
yellows, and it moves into purple. And obviously, there's a dragon in the sky as well. So,
Mhm.
and I loved doing that bit of that puzzle as well. It was one of the first bits I did. So
Mhm.
I sort of got some echoes of that.
Well, from an
Uh,
artistic perspective, like doing the sunset is just a very dynamic time of lighting, and so I
yes.
can understand why I don't know which artist did that. Like some puzzle illustrators, I'm very familiar with, but I'm learning. There's so many of them, but
Like I can't remember who did Dragon Forest, and that's terrible. I can't for the life of me remember. But maybe somebody in the chat will know and can
yes.
maybe tell us who did the
We
artwork for Magical
we
Dragon
do have a
Forest.
few questions in the chat. I want to jump over to. Okay, I had two questions I saw. Soul Impress and somebody, Richard, asked me, oh, totally unrelated to puzzling, but do you often visit Disney and Universal? Okay, I live, so evil. I live 20 minutes from Disney and 20 minutes from Universal. And my husband is a Disney employee, so we have like the Disney passes, and we purchased the Florida resident passes for Universal. So, with the exception of a few blackout dates here and there, we do go to the parks quite often. And by quite often, I mean like once a week,
Oh my
maybe.
lord!
It's just ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous because if you had told previous me from 4 years ago that like, oh, you go to Disney World like once a week, it sounds crazy. But it's like you got to get your money's worth out of the passes. But
Absolutely.
like my daughter loves it. My son hates it. Like if he never walked into a theme park again, he would be like super happy.
That's hilarious.
So yes. Um, There was another question. I'm sorry, Vicky, were you going to say something before sorry if I don't mean to
No,
talk.
no, no. Carry on, carry on.
Okay. Um, Somebody asked me, and I forgot, I saw it a moment ago. Was it Soul Impress? Somebody asked me what the inspiration was for Centurnia. And that's a really big, long answer. Um, and I'm going to dive into it. So sit back. It's like probably a 5 minute So if you don't want to hear somebody's long-winded story of her childhood trauma, now is a good time to stand up and go get yourself a cup of tea. But if you're all into learning about the inner workings of the mind of a fantasy creator, like sit back. This is a story. So where the original inspiration from Centurnia came. It's dark. Vicky, I think we're gonna go darker on your happy puzzle chat than we ever have before. I hope you're okay with this. And I hope
Fine.
Michelle might be back as a guest. And then there's also gonna be members of my family right now who might be watching this and like totally cringing because they're like, oh my gosh, she's gonna go there. Okay, so Centurnia for me has always been almost like therapy in a way. And I think honestly, like when I talk to people who are puzzlers and people who enjoy like the diamond paintings, cross stitch, all of those, that act of getting immersed into something is very good for your mental health and helps you maybe deal with the broader world and helps focus and calm you. I don't, Vicky, do you find that it's your calm, happy place when
Yes,
you're,
absolutely. That was one of the things I loved about the book puzzle scenario, because puzzles and books do that for me. But definitely from a therapy kind of perspective, yeah. Yeah, puzzles have been that for me, 100%.
A much lighter nugget of inspiration. I went to New York City for the first time and we saw Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, and it was a wonderful experience. It was a school trip. It was one of the first times I was away from home, and it was exciting and fun. And I love the story of Beauty and the Beast. And if you look at the first Centurnia novel, there's a bit of it starts out as a Beauty and the Beast metaphor because you have a castle that's trapped under a force field and needs to be freed from that so that the people who used to live in the castle folk can return and all can be restored. So that's one complaint. And of course, there's, the main character falls for he's not a prince, but he is the owner of the castle. It's more like an estate. Centurnia is not a monarchy story at all. So that's the first nugget of inspiration for Centurnia. The second nugget of inspiration. So when I was 12 years old, my mom got a phone call, and the phone call said and I will, in respect for my family, try to leave things vague, but that somebody in my family, my godmother, was dying. Except at that point, at 12 years old, I did not know I had a godmother. I did not know I had an entire branch of my family was suddenly revealed to me when this individual was dying. And it was a rather tragic death, and I won't go into the detail. But then what happened was all of a sudden the adults surrounding me, obviously there was a great amount of grief and turmoil when there was a sudden death of a person who was in their 30s at the time. And I was just trying to deal with that, because not only was it I was seeing the people around me who were upset emotionally, but also this idea that I had an entire chunk of my family that lived right down the street from my grandmother's house, and I had no idea I was related to these people at all, because there was a feud that had happened roughly about 9 or 10 years prior. I was about 3 years old when it occurred. And then all of a sudden, like, I had all these vague memories from when I was 3, and suddenly everything clicked into place and everything had context. And suddenly I was like, oh, like it clicked. And it was a lot emotionally for a 12-year-old. So I unconsciously took those feelings, that concept, the idea of having a girl who was unaware that she had an entire branch of her family tree that was literally just right there, but she didn't interact with them. And I took that, and then I kind of mashed it up with that Beauty and the Beast concept, because this is what my 12-year-old mind did. And that's where the story of Centurnia started to emerge, the idea of the hidden family. And I really think that it anchored me, it grounded me. It was just something I naturally did in order to deal with these big emotions, is just put them into a story. And I mean, the story is involved much further past that as I'm meeting these characters. And but that was the core of it. That was my own little childhood kind of trauma issues. So, okay, I hope you all don't think I'm too weird now.
At all. I
Yeah.
used to find writing things down when I was, feeling sad or low, or, any kind of negative feeling. I always used to find writing things down a really good way of processing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
whatever it is that's happening. Um, and so making a story, um, I can totally relate to that. I see where you're coming from with that. I think it in a way, whether you're making a story or writing a diary or whatever it is you're doing, I think it helps you just kind of go through it all in your head, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's a catharsis, basically. And I think it's
Yeah.
really important. And I think people need to take the time to do that. And perhaps in how we've set up our lives now, with everything going on with you're constantly checking social media, and you have like 100 things going on. And of course, the news is very weighing. To be able to take the time and give yourself the mental space, whether or not you're writing or puzzling, or simply going for a walk, and not dealing with extra sensory input, but just letting yourself be, that mindfulness, which I know is a term that's thrown around now as if it's like something trendy, but it's no, there's something so important to that way of thinking.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Totally agree.
Going to the chat now. I hope I didn't miss any questions. The zone flow state. Writing the child.
Got a rather large pile of yellow pieces here, so I'll probably start with the smaller ones and then work my way towards the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
What I've also done is, because I've noticed that with this one, you've got the airships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know there's a dragon and everything as well, but when I've got a piece that was obviously airship, I've just thrown that in the sky pile as well, even though it's not technically sky, but it's up there. So, yeah, some of these piles are quite big, but
You might find that
usually what I do is I start with the smaller ones and then work my way up.
you might find that the dragon color is a little similar to the big airship. I try to do this thing with my illustration, and it's very deliberate because I do have a fairly painterly style, but I will deliberately have areas that are very sharp. So if you look at the large airship, for those of you who are working on this image, um, there's like some boards in the very front of it that are very straight lines. They're not as painterly as the rest of the image. And I do that deliberately in order to make it easier to identify and easier to puzzle. It's one thing that makes my illustration different from a standard fantasy illustrator. Like a lot of, if you're a fantasy illustrator and you illustrate for like book covers, a lot of what you do is like main character front and center, and then whatever is in the background has a degree of blur and atmospheric perspective because you want to put the focal point on the main character. But when you're doing puzzle design, you want to make everything as sharp as possible. And people don't realize that, and that's why certain images do not, even though there might be gorgeous illustrations, might not make for great puzzle illustration, because you want to have those contrasting patterns and textures that are sharp and easy to find, because like nobody wants to do a puzzle that's like all blurry, or at least I don't. So that's a thing I did with the airships. I'm looking at this in
Yeah,
the
I
chat.
just I can this is a fairly new camera that I'm using, this one that's looking down at the puzzle,
Mhm.
and I can zoom in on things. So if you point anything out on the poster, I can just do a wee zoom and point. Is it these lines at the front that you're meaning? On the front of the
Um,
airship?
oh, you know what? There's a delay. Oh, let me see. I am sorry, there is a delay. So if you can show that to your camera to the right, I'll be able to see it a little bit better. But I think probably. So not your cam. Oh, now I'm seeing. Yes, those lines. Yes. I
Those
think I've
lines,
got
yeah.
like a 25-second delay between our conversation and what I'm seeing on the YouTube live. But the text feed with everybody's commenting, that is accurate. It's just my video is so delayed.
Yeah, there is definitely a delay. I don't know if it's longer for you because I don't think it's quite that long for me, but I actually can't see. I can see on the live stream software, so that's real time.
Okay, it
I'm
looks
not
like we're
entirely
getting
sure.
a couple questions here. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Vicky, but I don't
No,
want to
carry on.
these have been repeated questions. Okay, so Danielle wanted to know, I believe someone asked this before, but are there any other animals besides the tortoise that have a meaning, a story in the puzzle art? And then Julie Moose asked a very similar question. Who else in your family is represented by something in your puzzles? Oh boy, that was a lot. So if we go to um, the waterfall forest panel, this fig tree, which is also in, well, I'll explain the meaning and then I'll show you which ones also have the fig tree. But the fig tree is very representative of my family because my grandparents, all four of them are Italian immigrants. And that Italian culture was very, very strong for me growing up. I mean, I grew up thinking I was Italian first before I was American, because that's how much they held on to their heritage and all the wonderful traditions, especially relating to food and agriculture. So my grandparents had a fig tree in their garden. They have a very, very huge, lush garden, and this was in Liverpool, New York. So out the suburbs. We're not talking rural area. We're talking the suburbs, like housing, track housing development. Excuse me. And one thing about the climate of Syracuse is it's not conducive for fig trees. It's just not. But the Italians who are in the area really love their fig trees. So they would often have them in buckets, and then they would cover them in the wintertime and bring them in their garages. And my grandfather, I've never seen this gardening technique elsewhere. What he would do is every winter, so he'd have his fig tree in his garden. It was literally as tall as he was. He would dig like a fig tree grave, for lack of another description, but a giant hole in the ground right next to the fig tree. And he would take the whole entire tree and like turn it on its side with its root base still where it was, and just like bury it for the winter. And then every spring he would like unbury this fig tree, because that's how important it was that they have that tie into their Italian heritage and how much they loved fresh figs. So as a result, because I think about my grandparents a lot when I'm doing some of these images, I have a fig tree in almost every puzzle I think I've done with that has any sort of landscape. So Dragon Valley, one of the first ones, fig tree is like right there in the front between the cat and the blue dragon. I put it into, I think it's in Dragon's Garden. Yes, I put it in Dragon's Garden, like right near the dragon's neck. I really think every single puzzle I have done that has any sort of greenery and landscape, actually even, this one, okay, Glimmerstone Bakery, which is not an outdoor scene at all. I put the fig tree in the bucket and put it right there. That was a really fun piece. I loved that. I think Glimmerstone Bakery might just be one of my favorite puzzles I ever drew. Like that one, I loved so much. 6 Portals, I really, really loved. And then Magic Study, I think might actually be one of my most popular images. And it's been made into cross stitch as well. Did I put the fig? There's no fig tree in this one. Oh, but this one also has the cassette deck right there. So that kind of had a dual meaning in that, like, my grandfather had just passed away around the time that I was drawing this, and he had that exact cassette player. So that's, an old school stereo in his workshop. So I took photos of that exact cassette deck and I painted it into the image, but then it also served a dual purpose, because in my mind, this is Centia. This is Misa Winter, who is one of the main characters. And the cool thing about Castle Orimice, which is the main setting location in the world, so they have a portal. The portal goes to Earth, so stuff from Earth comes across the portals. But you're not allowed to have Earth tech. You're not allowed to have anything that's electrical on the streets of Trabalus, because that it's been outlawed. And there's a big long story, and there's a big long political thing, and it's one of the big underpinnings of the entire story. But Castle Orimice has a lot of this stuff hidden, and it's something that's very coveted. So it's very fun as I'm writing the story, because I get to put little bits of Earth technology, and some of it is just like so odd and different. So when I was creating this image, that's why you have the mix of something that feels like a medieval castle, but then you have odd little things from Earth. But I'm always hiding things in my art. Every single one of my pieces has all 3 of my cats. So Perlin, Muse, and Pepper, my black tuxedo cat, my orange tabby, and then my cat that passed away, who was orange and black. And I think in this one, I put all three of them on the backs of the unicorns in the first panel.
I noticed you've got cats in the border of the orange one.
Yes, yes.
When I was putting the edges together. So, oh yeah, I see that. Gosh, there we go. So I'm just gonna show you that there's a cat sitting on the back of the unicorn.
Mhm.
That is brilliant.
Oh, Danielle, you're welcome for answering your questions. This is so much fun. Like you guys make this easy. I love talking about all the things that go into puzzle design. So it's absolutely a joy. Oh, I spent 4 years in Buffalo, New York. Too much snow for me. I was born and raised in the Bronx. So yeah, Buffalo gets a lot. Buffalo and Syracuse get what's called lake effect snow because you have Lake Ontario, and when the waters are warm, you have the Canadian cold front that comes down, and you have this type of snow that's different from snow that's experienced in a lot of other areas, and they call it lake effect, and it can come up very quickly. It's like a flash snowstorm, for lack of a better descriptor, and it's worse than when we have a nor'easter or an actual blizzard or whatever. It's like, you worry about lake effect because you can go out like 5 o'clock at night and be driving home at 9 and suddenly get stuck in a whiteout because of the lake effect whiteout. So which is part of the reason I now live in Orlando, Florida, where I tease my family about how I don't have to shovel the sunshine out of my driveway while they're all miserable and freezing.
All right, if unless somebody else has asked a question, can I ask a question?
Oh, please go ahead.
So I was going to ask you about these keys. You always have keys hidden. Is that in every puzzle, or what's the
Um,
story behind the keys?
so
That was
it's
my question.
almost every puzzle. It started with, and this is one of those things, if you're actually curious, you can go to my website and go to where I have my list of puzzles. And on that list, I actually say which ones have the 12 keys and which ones don't. I started with Autumn Castle Festival. I started drawing the keys. And the keys relate to Centurnia, except I haven't gotten that far to explain it within the novel series. But they basically if you look at them, they're representative of different elements of in the world of Centurnia. And so I'm giving you kind of like a half teaser answer here that yes, they're consistent. Yes, they're in most of my puzzles. They're always the same. They're the same 12 ones. There's like the bicorn, the Mark of Oramice, the goblin, and so they relate to different things. But as far as the deeper meaning, I haven't revealed that in the lore. So with Centurnia, we have 3
Oh.
novels that are out. The 4th one I am currently working on. I'm also working on a short story guide, or not guide, excuse me, a short set of short stories. And I will, I intend for the series to be at least 8 novels. And I have it like outlined out. Like I know exactly where the plot is going. I know like how the main characters die, and I know all the stories of their parents. And I'm like, just the amount of time it's taking me to write it all while drawing puzzles and raising children and cleaning cat vomit and all the other random things that are, life.
Yes, I get you. I get you. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes. I think I need a cup of tea. Would you guys all forgive me if I'm going to vanish for a minute because I made my tea and I didn't get it, but I think I'm going to kill my voice. And
No problem at all. I'll take over the chat. Right. So this has been a rare one for me. I am usually looking at the chat all the time, but yeah, it's been very puzzle focused for me this time. It's been enjoyable just listening along. But I will come in just now and see what we're talking about. It's both local wikis and YouTube encoding that takes a few moments. Oh, is that about the delay, Virgus? Um, Like what causes the delay? My grandmother was born in Jacksonville, also named Rose, and the only thing we learned was ice cream sodas, and we didn't like those. Oh, oh no. You can push the live button to make sure your device isn't behind. Yes, I know. That happens to me a lot, actually. Um, where I don't realize I'm not live anymore, and I don't know why. For some reason, it kind of randomly does that. Thank you so much for answering our questions in so much detail. I'm not sure if she read that or not, but I'm sure she will see that, Danielle. I know, and it says live, so I'm sure I'm caught up. Just feel like I'm behind. Spent 4 years in Buffalo. Too much snow. Oh yeah, she was talking to you about that, Sybil. Never been. I've never been to New York at all. I would love to go. You know, with Rose doing all the talking, Vicky might actually finish this puzzle in 2 weeks. Yes, that would be good, wouldn't it? I think that's a bit too short. Oh dear. We love talking to each other. We are a chatty bunch, aren't we? We are a chatty bunch. Hello, you're back. You get your tea.
I did, and I brought my mermaid tail mug. Check this out. This is like
I
handmade.
love it.
It's got a
That's
wonderful
gorgeous.
texture.
Is it like scales on
Yeah, it
the
literally
handle?
is. It's got a wonderful. It's kind of. I'm trying not to drop it because it's like still hot, but it's very beautifully textured. My friend Kat gifted it to me years ago, and it's one of my favorite mugs. Let's
I
see what's
love
going
it.
on.
Do we have more questions, anyone?
I went to New York in 1979 and it scarred me for life. Okay, I gotta put out this misconception because like get this all the time when people say when I say I'm from New York. Okay, New York City, and I know it's hard to think of a scale because the United States is so flippin' big. New York City is a 6-hour drive from where I was born in Syracuse, New York. So the whole state of New York, for the most part, is just farmland. Like that is and mountains and like rural communities. That is most of the state of New York. New York City tends to have, I mean, it's a cultural icon. It's huge. And I've definitely, we'd visit New York City like once a year, especially when I was like a teenager. But New York City, I would go through I didn't see New York City until I was like 11, 12 years old. Okay. And to get from New York City to where I lived in Syracuse, you'd take the New York State Thruway. And most of the New York State Thruway was through like tiny little towns. And then you'd have Albany, Syracuse, Buffalo, Utica, Rochester. Like those are and then you go up into the mountains and down Catskill regions and the Adirondacks. But where I lived in Syracuse and then later where I lived in Rochester, it is totally suburban, like nothing to do with New York City. It's like an entirely different universe. And like our biggest thing there is Wegmans, which is the most wonderful grocery store in the entire universe. Does anyone know about Wegmans? Or am I talking to a crowd? Am I talking to a mostly international crowd? Does anyone know about Wegmans? Or am I speaking
I
about
don't.
you don't? I know you wouldn't. But it's just like if you talk to an upstater, I don't oh my gosh, this really shows me this is such a wonderfully diverse group of people we have in the chat that I could say Wegmans and nobody has any idea what I'm talking about. It's hilarious. Never heard of it. Sorry. That's okay. I do. Somebody said I do. Ruth, you've heard of Wegmans? This is this is great. So at least one person. No, Wegmans for me. Karen says she's from upstate New York. Okay. Yes, they know Wegmans. Okay. So like that's most of the state of New York. So it's very different from New York City. It's just very, very different.
Yeah, because
Pennsylvania.
I guess to
Oh, no Wegmans. I'm happy.
I guess to someone like me who's from the UK and only went to the US for the first time last year, and it wasn't New York. But if somebody says New York, and the first thing you think is the big city, the
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty, all of that stuff. That's what springs to mind for me
Hmm.
personally.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to hear all this because, I honestly don't. And distances they have a whole different meaning here. When you
Oh
say
yeah.
it was, what, 6 hours from you to New York City,
Yeah.
did you
Yeah,
say?
from where I was born in Syracuse, New York. And now where I'm in Orlando, Florida, if I wanted to go to New York City, that's like a 30-hour drive. Like it's not even like I won't do the drive. I'll fly. Like forget about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when
It pickles my brain because like it's so where I'm from England, but I live up in Scotland. So when I drive home, that takes me 6 hours, and for me, it's just like it's such a long drag of,
yeah,
and you say that to you say that to an American, and it's like, oh, it's not that,
yeah.
it's just a totally different perspective because we live on such a small country.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing in the chat we have people from Hamburg, New York, Ontario, uh people talking about Buffalo. Okay, I got my people in the chat. So Vicky, when you came to the US, where did you visit?
So last year we went to me and the kids went to California. We went to Disneyland. So,
Oh.
and that was our first trip to the US, and it was actually first time the kids had ever been on a plane. So it was a
Oh
pretty
my
long haul,
goodness.
but they
Your
did
kids
brilliant, and
are
it was so fun.
12 and 10 because they're just a little bit older than mine, right? They're how old are they?
Mine, mine are 12 and 13, 12
12
and
and 13.
13. So yeah, it was a long flight, but we loved it. And then this year we went back to the States and we went over to Seattle.
Oh,
So we were
Seattle's
over in Washington State.
Pacific Northwest is nice. So what did they think of Disneyland?
Oh, they loved it. I think they'd love to go back, but I think it'd be cool to come over to the Florida one, Disney
Yes.
World,
Vicky, you got to make
and
that
try that.
happen. Please come to
Yes.
Disney World. I will totally be your guide. We could do like an in-person, like a puzzling event. I could tell you all about, I could make the trip so seamless for you because I'm obsessed. I mean, obviously I live here. I love it. I'm a fan first, but yeah. Oh my gosh, Vicky, you need to. You need to. Disney World.
We shall. I'll save up my pennies, and we'll come. I would love to come, and I know the kids would love to come. So we'll definitely come back to the States. But yeah, we'd love to try Disney World. So,
Yeah, it's a
but yeah,
different experience because Disneyland is more, you've got one park and a couple hotels, and it's, oh, Disneyland was the first one that was built, and part of their, okay, so I know way more Disney trivia than I have any right to know in the history of Disney. I'm like so big into this. So when Walt Disney built Disneyland, part of the reason he did Disney World is he got frustrated by the fact that everything else just kind of like other touristy attractions kind of build up and crowded around Disneyland. Disney World is huge. It is the square footage wise, I think it's like 80 acres. It's like the size of two Manhattans, like two
oh
New
my
York
word,
cities is all the land Disney World owns. And they have the four parks, two water parks, 20 hotel resorts, all on Disney property. And when you're driving through it, it's like when you're going from area to area, it's like green lush spaces and pretty fountains, and it's like so flippin' huge, and you cannot possibly, when you go to Disney World, do everything there is to do in Disney World. I've lived here for 3 years and I have not gone on all the rides, and granted I was pregnant for like 9 months of that time, so that kind of also pushed me back on that. But it's just like amazing. And then the fact that you could go to like Universal Studios and it's like 25 minutes away from Disney World, and then you have all like the Harry Potter stuff and the How You Train Your Dragon stuff, and
yeah,
I'm sorry
that
guys, I'm
sounds
a bit
brilliant.
intense about this sort of thing because I really do love my new home, and it's so much fun. Let's see.
What's how? Obviously, it's colder, I guess, where you were, but is it quite weather-wise? Is it quite a humid place? I've heard it's like a really sort of hot, humid kind of climate in Florida. Is that right? Or
Yeah, so
how,
definitely New York is a lot drier, a lot colder. But with Disney World, you have to pick the time of year you visit. So this time of year, so I would say when you're going from like late October through like May, it's pretty pleasant and the humidity is low. Now I say that with a grain of salt because I know everybody has a different perception of humidity. Like this is a very hot button topic for some people. I'm very tolerant of the humidity because I'm married to an individual who his skin is much happier in humid environments. So I think like, even when I lived in New York, we barely ran the air conditioner because my husband's like skin would dry out if it was not humid enough. So he's happy when
oh,
it's humid. So I'm happy when it's humid and I don't notice it. But yeah, Disney World or rather Orlando, it's not technically tropical, it's subtropical, but like we got palm trees and lizards everywhere. And like New York, you wouldn't see that at all. Oh, I'm seeing. Wait. Oh, people are commenting. Oh my God, Vicky gets Rose Cat as a personal guide for Disney World. She's made it as a YouTuber. Yeah, this would be fun. Disney Puzzle Camp 2027. Oh my gosh, we should make that happen. We should get one of the hotels by Disney Springs. Actually, tomorrow in Orlando, there is the Florida National Jigsaw Speed Puzzling Convention is happening, and I'm actually going to be a guest there. So I mean, we definitely have our own puzzling events here in Central Florida. We have a very vibrant puzzling community, both speed puzzlers and then people who love to do puzzle swaps. And like, dude, we should do a puzzle convention here. That'd be
totally
oh
up
my
for that.
fun.
I'm totally up for that. Well, honestly, you don't have to give this crowd much, and the next thing you know, we'll have a worldwide puzzle tour going on.
Happy. Oh, speaking of which, I saw one of your videos for you're doing the competition between you and the other two YouTubers, and there was like a teaser video, and I just watched. I'm sorry, I didn't watch it too. No, I did watch the whole thing. So, can you talk about that? About you because you do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I'm being vague.
I
I'm excited
do.
about it. It looked cool.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, I think you're talking about the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers.
Yes, that's
Um,
exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah, we've actually not done one in a little while. So there's other YouTube puzzlers, obviously, and the main ones that are involved are Donna Louise, who is her channel's called For the Love of Puzzles,
Mhm.
and she is in New Zealand. And she actually came up with the whole thing. She came up with the whole idea. And she approached another YouTube puzzler called Jeanette, whose channel is called Jeanette and Her Puzzles, and she's from Slovenia. And so they were going to do this speed puzzle battle between the two of them, and they started to kind of the feelers out there and let people know. And then I saw the posts. I think it was on Instagram because this is a couple of years ago now. I think it was on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really fun. I'd love to do that." So I got in touch with them, and I said, "Can I join in on this?" And then another YouTuber called Addicted to Puzzles, Judy, um, she did the same thing essentially. She was like, can I join in?" And eventually there ended up being five of us, because another YouTuber, Jigsaw Juby from Australia, also joined in. I think Donna Louise invited her to join, and that was when we did it the very first one. I can't remember the year. It was a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
I think it was 2023. Um, and we did it, and it was just so much fun. And we basically just took a 500-piece Ravensburger puzzle. We picked one, and we all recorded videos where we speed puzzled it, and
Mhm.
then we set the videos up to come out back to back as premieres. Like you can do a premiere on YouTube
Yeah.
where you watch it with everybody and you can chat. Um, and that's what we did. And then it was so much fun, and we loved it so much, and people, people who watched enjoyed it so much that um we made it sort of twice a year thing. So we did another one in June, and then last year we did the same. We did two, and we've changed it up over the years. But so we've done things like we did a 750 piece puzzle for one of them. Um, and yeah, and it's sort of grown from there. But I mean, over the years, the last battle that we did, I think it was was it the beginning of this year? I think it was the beginning of this year. It was just me and Donna Louise and Jeanette because
Mhm.
Juby had other things going on, and Judy did as well. So yeah, so we've that's been something we've been doing pretty regularly. But we've not even done one in June this year because we've all just been really crazy busy.
Mhm.
But it is so much fun. I can't wait to do the next one. I think we'll do another one. But we just have such a laugh, and that's really how we all became friends and got to know each
Mhm.
other. Because what grew from that was four of us, Juby, me, Donna Louise, and Jeanette, all went to Worlds. We all went to the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships in 2023. We were like, "Oh, we're going to go. Can anybody else come?" And we went, and we were a team. So we were this international team because we were literally from all over the place.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's
And
so cool. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so it's brilliant. It's so much fun, and we all get on really well, which is another really nice thing. We all just kind of our friendship grew out of it, if you see what I mean. So we just always have loads of fun with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's where that came to life. It was really Donna Louise's
Mhm.
thing. So yeah.
Yeah, she just recently came onto my radar, actually within the last 24 hours, because um, she's going to be doing something with Six Portals, and
Yes.
my fans sent me links to point me to her channel, which I had previously not seen, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And I messaged her, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm friends with Vicky," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like the puzzle world is small in some ways. It's so cool,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
friendly too.
You forget how international it is sometimes, I think.
Mhm.
That you speaking to people from all over. It's like with the live chats and stuff. It's like you're all meeting up for a cuppa
Yeah.
to do a puzzle together. It's kind of weird. Sometimes you do actually forget how far away everybody is because it really does have a way of just bringing people together.
I'm popping into the chat over here. Her name's Glory Shore. Disney World. A lot of people talking about Disney World.
I really want to come now. I'm good.
Yeah.
I've got.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
got.
Like I could be like your personal tour guide. I'm really not joking. I'm like so serious about that because I love bringing people around Disney World because part of the fun side of being a freelancer is that my schedule can be flexible. So when people come down and visit us, I'm just so into theme park mode and navigating the parks and knowing exactly this is the best time to ride this ride and this is the best time to get this food from this location and this that and the other. I love doing that sort of thing. Let's
That
see,
sounds
there's one.
amazing. And what time of year did you say? Do you think is best to come for to Disney
Basically
World?
winter would probably make you, if you hate humidity and you hate hot, definitely come during the winter time. So December, January, February, March, those months are, but also, I mean, the downside of that is it does tend to be a little more crowded because that is when it's very nice.
Oh,
December is
really?
beautiful because the parks are decorated for Christmas. October is nice because it's decorated for Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds amazing.
But you would probably, if humidity and heat is a problem for you, probably prefer the cooler months. But it's
It's more
nice.
my son I mention it for. He doesn't cope well with heat at all. I don't mind it as much, but yeah, in California, because obviously it gets hot in California as well. In California, we would go to the park and he'd be like, "Oh, I don't know if I could do this, Mum."
Yeah.
I'm just
It's just
like,
you got to be smart about it because when I bring people around, like you want to be avoid being out at like when the weather is warm, like not so much during the January, February, but like if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Like, don't be out in full sun walking. Like, that's your time to like pick an air conditioned place or pick a indoor show
Yeah.
or a restaurant, and just to be able to time it. Or, if you're not used to really warm environments, you don't think about details like the difference between picking a table or a bench out in the sun versus in the shade can be absolutely like huge. So, just making those conscious decisions. But like when you've been down here a while, you just kind of get used to it. It's like second
Yeah.
nature. So, do we have more questions in the chat? Rosecat Con, any other puzzles in the works with Ravensburger? I can say that I will have a 2026 puzzle out, but I can't. So, what often happens when um, sometimes puzzle companies, ask me to do a very specific piece, I can't tell you anything until they've put it in their catalog. And that often happens. Sometimes I'll get like special permission to post things ahead of time. But I've definitely continued to work with Ravensburger. So you will see more Ravensburger from me in 2026. That is a
Mm,
thing because I love working with them. So much fun.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
We'll be looking out for that one.
Time is it? It's every 5:45. Has anyone seen my Backerkit lately? I don't want to, once again, I don't want to switch windows. And I'm kind of scared. I'm afraid it's like where I left it. Can someone check my Backerkit campaign and tell me where we're at for those lovely, okay, I'm going to, promote myself here again. So once again, with the Backerkit campaign, if you are late to hearing about this, I'm doing a pairing of audiobooks and puzzles. So specifically the puzzle I'm illustrating, the aquarium gown, which was voted on by my followers just before the campaign, relates directly to the story of Centurnia, Mark of the Castle. And that is going to be available through my Backerkit campaign with the audiobook. And I also did a trio of micro puzzles, which also relate directly to the audiobook. And if we hit our stretch, I'm at $1,666. That's cool. We went up. We had more pledges. All right now, so we met our funding goal. So I have the funds to pay the manufacturers for the micro puzzles and get my audiobook narrator started. So I have like the base funding there. But right now, what we're trying to do is get the third audiobook funded, as well as releasing more puzzles. And people look at me and you're like, well, you're obviously drawing puzzles all the time. What's the difference? So when I'm creating work for one of the larger puzzle companies, they all have different requirements and different needs and different things they want to see from the images. But these puzzles are puzzles I'm working specifically with manufacturers and independently releasing. I work with Tate & Co. Puzzles. I have developed a really great relationship with them, and they are allowing me to they're doing the manufacture of this puzzle, and then also the micro puzzles. And so when I do this, I completely control the image and I can make it very specific to Centurnia and like tie it all together. And I absolutely love doing that. And, I definitely want to say that the art directors who I have worked with in the past have been very amazing. And the vast majority of them, they're very open to the type of imagery I draw. And it's been absolutely wonderful and absolutely a dream career. But this is just something I wanted to do that was a little more personal, a little more specific. So your Backerkit contribution, and it's not a donation, it's actually you're buying these puzzles. So you get all this puzzly goodness. You're basically helping me create a puzzle that's very specific to Centurnia. That was a really long-winded. I don't know why you people are still listening to me. I'm just like tangent after tangent after tangent.
Still interested? It's funny.
Thank you, Becky. You're really kind. People are talking. People are talking about, oh, they're talking about, everybody's still talking about Disney and Guardians of the Galaxy and Tron. And I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't know if I made the mistake of writing that after having a a wine slushy from France, but I did not. And if you're not familiar, Epcot has the World Showcase Lagoon, which means they have like little miniature countries with all the delicious food. Anyways, I definitely had more wine slushy than I should have, and I got on Guardians of the Galaxy, and I felt quite ill, and I've not been on it since. Let's see, Rosecat Con. I assume that yellow portal is a sunset, or is it a sunrise? I think I was thinking sunset. Though sometimes they get to be very similar with that golden hour lighting. Yeah, definitely sunsets, and that had a lot of lovely little succulents in the bottom. Like when I moved to Florida, I suddenly became obsessed with anything tropical, and that's when I did this succulent piece, and that's when I did like the tropical dragons and all of those. And then I went completely in the opposite. And I think after I got all the tropicalness out of my system, I did, where is this one? I did a winter scene. Oh my goodness, puzzles falling everywhere. White Mountain. I did this little snowscape library. This is the book nook. Dropping everything. I think sometimes I'm not going to use the word bored because puzzles are quite enjoyable to illustrate no matter what I'm illustrating. But after I've done a few puzzles with a certain theme, I just want to go completely in the opposite direction. And that's why you'll see a switch in my puzzles. Sometimes I'll do landscape. Sometimes I'll do interior. Sometimes I'll do like a close up. Like I think I did a cookie puzzle. So it's just because I want to stretch my artistic brain in a slightly different direction. And then that's when you'll see a shift.
Can I ask you, actually, I meant to ask this and I'd forgotten. There's a lot of butterfly. Do butterflies have like a special meaning for you, or do you just think they're pretty? Or there's like I've noticed there's lots of butterflies in this section.
You want the honest truth. Oh my gosh, Vicky,
Yes,
about the
please.
honest truth. This is such a terrible. Okay, so first of all, I do definitely think butterflies are pretty. I love butterflies. I love insects. I love all sorts of creepy, crawly little things. Okay, the honest truth. Okay. When I get towards the very, very end of a puzzle design, and I'm looking at my puzzle designs, and I'm like, oh, I have too much sky in an area, or I have too much color that I need to break up. I have like a whole big set of butterflies, and I put butterflies in those spaces to make it easier for the puzzler to put them together, because a butterfly is a very versatile little creature. You can put them in places that I'll do this with birds too, and mice as well. But butterflies can go places birds can't. So if it's an exterior scene, I will use the butterflies to break up skies and areas of foliage to make it just like that much nicer for all of you.
Got you. Just wondered if they had a specific significance, but really pretty. I mean, you can do them in all different colours as well, so
yeah. Oh no,
I can see why you do that.
What else do I have in there? The fish are fun too. I could do a lot of variations with them. I like doing another thing. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna talk my method here, but it really doesn't look as though I have one. It's just kind of a mess. These were all colour piles, and they kind of still are. It's just that I've spread them out. But I do have some little bits together. I've got these mountains, which are quite purple, and there's a bit of the pink sky here, which sits right next to the border, the portal border. So I've probably got a few of those pieces in with those pieces. But yeah, it was just to say it looks a mess, but I do know what I'm doing, I think.
Yeah.
So just an update on my puzzling.
Coming together quite nicely. I think actually, that mountain range might be the most difficult area in there because it is a lot of very soft colors in soft shapes. And certainly if I had drawn that as, a fantasy illustrator might do it, it would be probably even softer. I tried to make the forms very sharp. That's why I have like that spire right here, the way the mountain just is a very
Right.
sharp form against the yellow. Somebody
Yes.
in the chat asked, SS asked, who are the artists that inspired your art? And I have quite a few of them, and I'm always being inspired. Certainly, a lot of the fantasy illustrators of the 90s. So, people like Boris Vallejo, who I've met in person, which is awesome. Jody Lee, who was an illustrator who illustrated the covers of Mercedes Lackey's novels. I love how she drew her unicorns and her figures, and she would draw these wonderful borders on her book covers, and I quite enjoyed that, and I think I picked up a little bit of that for more classical illustration. Art Nouveau, Alphonse Mucha. So my degree, I have a bachelor's degree in illustration, I'm associate's degree in graphic design, and I have a master's degree in art education. So I have a very solid art history foundation. And there's just like so many artists who I admire. Like I love a lot of the illustrators. So like Andrew Loomis and NC Wyeth and Edwin Georgie, um, forgetting names, but a lot of the illustrators that were popular during the era of advertising. So of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I'm sorry, some of you, I'm just like throwing names, but if you are into art history, hopefully you have a good understanding. But I loved the illustrators of that era. Anderson was another one. But the illustrators who were doing advertisements and magazine illustrations, I really enjoyed how because they'd have these styles where their forms were very sharp and they block their colors because they were working in gouache and they had to work quickly. So those are the Saturday Evening Post artists who, oh, why am I forgetting his name? I'm going to be ostracized forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting his name? But so I have a great deal of illustrators, and then contemporary illustrators have also influenced me. Bridget Ashwood is a licensing artist who actually is in the same agency I'm in, because I am represented by an agent to do a lot of my licensing work. And I loved how she structures her sets, and she also does puzzle illustration. So I love her work. Amy Stewart, another puzzle illustrator. When I was starting out, I was looking at how she balanced her color, and I just loved her work. But like, there's so many of them. Norman Rockwell, thank you, Hannah, thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, clearly I'm getting exhausted if I forgot that Norman Rockwell was the Saturday Evening Post illustrator from the 40s. Let's see.
This is brilliant. I'm really loving this. Sorry.
The wonderful questions. Wonderful. Did I know that Alphonse Mucha couldn't draw hands, so that's why most of his ladies have hands hidden? Like, it is really funny how all these artists who we place them up on a pedestal, but when you drill down to it, they're just like the same as anyone else. Actually, Alphonse Mucha, I recently saw, he had an exhibition of his art. It was like a traveling gallery show. And I went to it, and you could see in his sketches, he had grid drawings. You could see where he would use like whiteout, and it was just like to see all of his mistakes, and then also to see when his work was huge and blown up, you could see just how like his lines weren't perfect. But when so these illustrators, they typically work like really a large scale, and then their work is like shrunk down to this big, and that's when you'll see it in a book. And when you shrink it down, all of the mistakes just kind of go away as long as your composition and your values and your color tones are strong. And to see somebody like Alphonse Mucha, who's really held up on a pedestal for his work in the Art Nouveau movement, and to be like, oh no, he's human. He just kind of messes up. But I did not know that detail about Mucha's hands, and it's quite amusing. I'm gonna hate, but I think Rose Cat Consart is better than Amy Stewart. That's terrible. I mean, I can't say I know Amy. She is a really lovely person, and I've met her. We'll hang out in Vegas, which is we have a big show called Licensing Expo, and that's where puzzle illustrators will wind up as we're like, getting our work, trying to make our business deals happen. But Amy Stewart is just like an amazing, warm, friendly person. When I was first starting in the puzzle industry, like I sent her some messages and I was like, hey, because I just had questions about different things, and she's just so open and warm, and I really do appreciate everything she shared with me, and she's just like, she's awesome.
Her husband's an artist as well, isn't he? Lars Stewart? Is that right?
Yes, yes, he is. He does. I think his work goes a little more on the side of photography and photo collage, but he definitely does digital art, and they really work in tandem. And like Amy's work too. One thing I love about hers is she really lives her art. Like she'll post photos of her studio, and her studio looks just like her paintings. So she just like immerses
Oh, wow.
herself in her creation. It's just so fun. Yeah, I'm looking at the questions here. And I gotta say, as we're talking here about artist names, I'm gonna just stand up on a soapbox for 30 seconds. As illustrators, we really, 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 really appreciate when you recognize us, that you take the time to look at the copyright information on the side of the box, when you seek out our collections, because right now there are puzzle brands that are creeping in that are AI art, and they're AI generated art. And I really don't want to jump down this rabbit hole because it's very frustrating. But it's art that's created without compensation to an artist, built from work that came from artists. And when you take the time to stop and recognize us, we do appreciate that. The fact when you tell puzzle companies you want to see more of Amy Stewart or Jeff Haney or Rose Cat Khan, puzzle companies hear that and they listen. And when you acknowledge us as artists, we're all people who are trying to pay the mortgage. And if you don't take a moment to appreciate that, then I'm afraid that AI is going to just continue to creep into the industry. And I mean, they would say the big puzzle companies at this point, for the most part, they are all about human artists, which is wonderful, and I appreciate that a great deal. But I'm just putting out the awareness there, and I don't want to go too far down that. Rose, if you can make a 42,000 piece puzzle, what would that look like? Oh my gosh, I don't even know how much time that would take, because it took me like half a year to do 6 portals. And granted, I also had a newborn at the time, so maybe I could do 6 portals in a quarter of a year. And that was 7,000 pieces, because to make a puzzle design very well, I mean, you have to design it for the larger piece count. And then you also have to take into consideration like file size, because I don't work in vector art, and I have to, so everything I do is on an iPad. So I have to think of the limitations of an iPad and how much layers, but I can't even admit. But that being said, just in case there's any Ravensburger art directors that are sneaking up on this chat, okay? If Ravensburger or any other company came to me and was like, hey, Rose, want to design us a 42,000 piece puzzle? I would be like, yes, I would absolutely do that. I don't know what it would be. It would probably be fantasy landscape, I'm guessing, of some sort. But yeah, I totally would. Yeah, you know what? If I had to do a 42,000 piece puzzle, if I'm going to spend that much time on a puzzle, it would be the different biomes and the different worlds of Centia, which the 6 portals is to a lesser extent. Like I have some of the vague creatures and elements of Centia have snuck into it. But when I was designing it, I wasn't I wasn't as specific. I know this sounds super vague, and you guys are probably like, what's this artist talking about? Like when I drew like Autumn Castle Festival and Magic Study, I was like, these are specific characters, these are specific moments, these are specific scenes. When I drew Six Portals, I was a little more loose in how I was building the world. And like, so for example, the cats that have wings in the world of Saturnia, they are called Feltrini. And that's what those cute little winged cats are. Hate to disappoint, but they don't talk. They're just as obnoxious as you can imagine if your cat had wings. Like they make messes. They're awful and wonderful at the same time. But I'm really going on a tangent. To answer your question, if I had to do a 42,000 piece puzzle, it would be all the different environments in Centurnia. So the different, because it's a very large fantasy world. So you have different unique sights and scenes. So,
Very
yeah.
awesome, by the way, just to say. Totally be behind.
Oh, I appreciate the individual that is
100%.
saying Six Portals is not available in less than 7,000 pieces. If you bought 1,000 piece, it's AI. Yeah, there is a company, and I'm gonna name them because this annoys the heck out of me. Be Bolden, Puzzle Funland, and I'm forgetting the third name, but it's in the post somewhere. They took my Six Portals image and they ran it through an AI filter, and they're selling it as a 1,000 piece puzzle. And it's just like, and they've done this to Nathaniel Mortenson's art. And I know you had Nathaniel on like recently, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was in the
Yeah.
chat when I was doing his Charm Cottage puzzle.
Yeah. And he's lovely, but they took his art, they've taken Amy Stewart's art, they've taken Bridget Atwood's art. Like these companies are just like, well, I'm gonna run it through a filter through AI and it spits out a puzzle and it's technically a derivative work because there is no, like people don't understand the copyright law does not exist at all to moderate AI. Sorry, this is why I said I'm not going to talk about it because I'm just going to go on a very unpleasant tangent. But we have no artist protections because the copyright laws were written at a time that these sorts of technologies simply did not exist. And they were written on the premise that if an artist creates something, then they deserve the right to be able to earn a living from their creation. And that's just been completely shattered in the world of writing, in animation, in songwriting. And I'm going to stop right now because I'm ranting. I'm going to stop. Vicky, talk about something else. Talk about puppies and kitties, please. Please do.
Why don't I go back to 42,000 piece puzzles? If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Um, the, the puzzle and harking back as well to the puzzle camp 2027 conversation. So I think I'd be interested to hear who said that actually. But I think they may be referring to that we're having we're building a 42,000 piece puzzle next year.
Oh,
In Stirling, where I live in Scotland, and we're mixing it. So do you know the Educa Around the World puzzle?
I have seen that one.
That
That
it's
is,
a big panorama, Adrian Chesterman,
uh-huh.
and it's like landmarks and buildings and monuments and from all over the world, and it's just kind of all together in a giant panorama. So what we're doing next year is, and when I say we, I mean me and all the lovely people in this chat and watching. We're gonna mix bags and build it together,
Wow.
and people are coming here to do that. So and well, the official title, I don't even know if I can remember the name of the official title because it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's like the 42,000 piece around the world international puzzle along or something. But everybody calls it Puzzle Camp.
Oh, that sounds
So
so fun.
so when you mentioned about coming to having like a puzzle thing in Florida, that's what got everybody going because they were all like, "Oh, let's do puzzle in Florida in
Dude,
2027."
you know what?
So
I want to come to a puzzle event in the UK. Because you know what? I've been to Germany, and I've been to the Netherlands, but I've never been to any other country outside the US and Canada. But Canada is you know, right here. But I would love to come to an event That would be like wild. And because my husband's been looking for an excuse to take the kids on a trip. That would be so much fun. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, you would definitely be invited.
Oh,
Come join us.
when is this happening? What month?
So it's in July next year. It runs from the 4th through to the 18th of July next year, and we've got I've put a video out on it. It's a fairly recent video, but it's I'm just getting the hotel room sorted out, because we're doing it in a room in a hotel.
Uh-huh.
It's called the Academy Suite. They have like weddings and stuff in there, but it's the perfect
Uh-huh.
size room. And obviously it's a hotel as well. So there'll be rooms that people can go stay in, and we have access to the room from like something like 6 a.m. through to midnight, so that we can hold it over those 2 weeks.
That
So it's
sounds so.
going to
You
be so
said this is
much fun.
where in the UK exactly is this?
So
Or
it's a small town in central Scotland called
uh
Stirling.
huh.
So it's where I live.
Hmm.
And it's called Stirling, Stirling with an I, Stirling.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I think that may also have been why somebody asked you if you would consider designing a 42,000 piece puzzle.
That would be
They
so.
may be thinking you could design the puzzle for the puzzle camp in Florida in 2027.
That would be wild. But you know, no, now the wheels are seriously turning because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'd love to see Scotland. This and July is typically a month where I don't usually have anything major going on. So, hey,
Oh.
if my mother is watching this live stream, you might be babysitting the 2-year-old next July. This is okay. I'm seriously going to talk to you about this, Vicky, because
That was
that
exciting.
that would be so cool. Because the cool thing about being a puzzle illustrator and being in the puzzle industry, if you go somewhere for a puzzle event, it is a tax write off because it's part of your business. So, really,
Exactly.
the wheels are turning.
Exactly. Well, it's happening. It's happening. I mean, and let me tell you, this is why I said earlier, you've got to be careful what you say. It because like that idea was born out of a live stream chat. We were
Really?
chatting, and I'm going to point fingers, Sam. It was you. Sam came up with the idea, and it just grew legs from there. And now it's actually happening. And I couldn't quite believe it when I booked the room. I was like, oh wow, we're actually doing this. So it's amazing what happens in these live chats. You just
Yeah.
never know where you're going to end.
It's such a wonderful community. Really, Vicky, you've got an amazing group of people because when I was first invited onto the Discord, like I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point, I didn't really know much about you. I had no idea about the Discord. I just didn't know. And then I was like invited in, and I was like, wow, these people are just fun to talk to, and you're just talking about puzzles and random things, and it's just you're also lovely and welcoming, and I appreciate that. You're just like the best. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you. I totally agree, and I know I'm biased, but honestly, that Discord server that grew out of I did a puzzle along. It was on a Clementoni puzzle called Woodland Fantasy Garden, and it's by Ciro Marchetti.
Mhm.
And we did that as a puzzle along, and I made videos, and I sort of made them detailed and in depth. It was 1,500 pieces, so I thought, if people want to have a go at a slightly larger piece count, they can maybe watch how I do it and puzzle along. And I thought it'd be great if we could have a space where people could do it but share their pictures
Mhm.
and their experiences and stuff of it. And that's not really something you can do on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's how the Discord server was born. It just grew into this. It grew really quickly into this thriving wee community, and it's just yeah, it's been incredible, and I totally agree with you. Such a great group of people. You can join the Discord server, by the way, if you're not in there yet. There's a link in the description, and that will let you join the Discord server. So we plug there. Gosh, oh God, oh my Lord, we've been going 2.25 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that to me. I don't know how it feels for you.
Puzzles coming across along quite. Oh, somebody's messaging me. Oh, nobody's messaging me. I'm just trying to see here how you're doing. You know what? I can make this bigger.
I
Make
don't
my
know if you can
screen
see very
bigger.
well.
If
It
you-
doesn't, you can't really tell because I've got so many pieces lying around, but I've got
Yeah.
this little section here done, and that is um goes from there across to that butterfly there. So I've done that little bit of mountain range there. And then I've also got a dragon here.
Mm-hmm.
That's that one.
Yeah.
He's underneath that. He should be above it. But
Yeah.
got some dragon together. And then a little patch of, I think it's this area here,
Yeah.
where it's pink at the edge. I've got a little patch there together. And I've got some purple. I think that might go over. Actually, I can attach that. Ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
hang on.
Dragon goes right on top of your mountains there, and then
Big,
I'm
big
seeing.
attach moment here.
Yeah. Oh,
There
oh
we go.
yeah, you definitely do. Oh, I love that. It is so satisfying when you just move them.
Yay! Okay, so I've done that as well. I've got, I'm wondering whether or not to start to find bits of the airship. I've got some here,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's too bad. And the edges, of course, which I did at the start. So not bad at all for a day's live.
Yeah, it's quite good. Did you know we still have 105 people still watching us? Like we haven't scared them away. Is this an average number for your live streams?
I don't know, to be honest. I would say maybe not 100, maybe 70 to 80.
Oh,
I think I've got more people because you're heroes. People were very excited about this.
this is fun. I love this. I'm so looking forward to like next weekend. I don't know what my date is. I gotta make sure as long as I don't have anything going on with the kids, I am fairly certain I will be available next weekend. We can do this again and we can come up with more stories. And I hope you all come up with like more questions. Let's see. Hey,
Oh, I'm
Ravensburger,
sure they'll have
I'm recording.
plenty.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna like get an email from the archer. And the thing is with Ravensburger, there's also two teams. There's the European team and the American team, and there's two or I mean US, like North American, sorry. North American and UK team. Two completely different sets of art directors. And they request different things. So that's also quite interesting because I mean Ravensburger is like so huge. Um,
Yeah.
but a wonderful company. I'm seeing questions.
Well, just I mean, I have no prediction really about how long this is going to take me. We think I might be doing this through to January at least.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, obviously, you're welcome to pop in and out as many times as you want in that time. Just
So
say the word and
are you gonna live stream every single portion of that? Is that definitely the plan?
no, I'm live streaming the whole puzzle.
Wow.
The whole puzzle. Yeah. Like sometimes I do stuff off camera, like if I'm trying to finish off a little section or something, I might say, right, well, I'll finish this off camera, and I'll do
Um,
sorting off the camera. But yeah, more or less the whole puzzle will be together on the lives. So and that's one of the hard things about these streams because often I find I want to carry on puzzling them and I have to wait a week before I
yeah.
can do it
Oh,
again. So yeah, so like just obviously if you're busy, then that's fine. We can just do a week where you're not here, or if you maybe have half an hour and you can just type in the chat, that's brilliant as well. But just whenever you can and want to, assuming you
oh,
don't get sick of us,
it'll be fun.
then
Cool. So
yeah, you're
we're
always welcome.
wrapping up. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, I mean, usually my lives go on about two and a bit hours, so this is around about the time I would round
Mhm.
things off usually. It's quite late here. We're at 20 past 11 p.m.
Oh, it
So
is 6:18 in the evening here, and it is lovely. It is sunset time. I mean, I can hang out a little bit longer, like whatever you guys want. It's cool. My husband and the kids are gone, so it is peaceful here. So
yeah.
it is quite
Well, maybe what I'll say is because I'm sure people will still have more questions. So maybe we'll just take the last few questions and
Yeah.
you can answer those and we'll take it from there. Does that sound good?
Okay. So their questions, last questions. Let's see. And you're welcome all. And like, if you have other things you want to say to me, I am definitely over in the Discord server, and I tend to hang out more in the Six Portals chats. And that's where you're most likely to find me. I don't as often pop over into the other areas because it's just there's so many conversations, and I've gotten to know the lovely people who congregate in the Six Portals section of the Discord. So that's my little home base. So that's where I am. And certainly you can find me elsewhere. There is a Facebook group called the Official Rosecat Con Fans and Collectors, and I talk to people there, and Instagram, and I'll respond to people on Blue Sky and via email and all the things. We have lots of streams, lots of questions, lots of streams to ask questions. No more questions, huh?
Really? You surprised me.
Yeah. If you guys don't have questions, I'm just gonna like take up the last few minutes of air being like, hey, also remember that Backerkit campaign is happening so we can fund and make the other puzzle designs happen. And that link is in the description of this YouTube video if you would like to check it out. It's very appreciated. Oh my gosh, I'm just done. Vicky, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I barely slept last night because I was so nervous about my campaign launching. I don't normally sleep because of my 2-year-old, and I'm just like spent. I'm just going to like eat pizza and chill on the couch.
Well,
Oh,
actually,
oh,
my headphones literally just told me they have low battery.
oh, okay. Well, I guess that is
This
the
this
end.
might be a good time then, before you disappear from the headphones and we get the echo. Right, well, thank you
Oh,
so much, everybody,
you're
for
very, very
being
welcome.
here.
Very,
And
very welcome.
thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. We definitely, this has been a wonderful afternoon.
It's been brilliant, and I've enjoyed it so much, and I've been loving this puzzle.
Sam,
And
thanks for the
just
update. Sorry. I'm sorry.
thank you, Sam. So, yeah, I'll be back with this puzzle next week. I'll chat with you, Rose, to see what you can manage for next week. Maybe we'll have you back again, or just depending on what you're up to. But yeah, I'm so happy this went really well, and I'm really grateful that you came and chatted with everybody. It's been such a nice experience, and particularly being able to build your puzzle while we talk, which is really nice. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here and for chatting and for just being so lovely. Thank you to everybody. I know that I've had some people join the channel and leave donations. Thank you for those as well. I've not kept up on the chat as much this time, which is unusual. So thank you for all of that. Thank you, Rose. You've been absolutely wonderful. It's just so easy and lovely to talk to you. So thank you for just answering everybody in so much detail and telling you stories. We love it. We love it. So I will say, before I say goodbye, I will say check out the description of this video. There are several links in there, including for my Discord server, in which there is a channel purely for this puzzle. It's actually a puzzle along that we're doing. So if you want to join in and do this puzzle and you haven't got it yet, there's links in the description for that. Um, Maybe you have it and you're waiting to do it. I'm going to be doing this at least a couple of months, so don't worry if you haven't started it yet. Do feel free to puzzle along, and there's a channel in the Discord server for that. So click that link to join. There's also a link to Rose's Backerkit campaign as well. Check that out. That looks amazing. And yeah, that's about it. So I guess I will see you tomorrow. The next time I'm up on YouTube is tomorrow. I've got a live chat premiere tomorrow for my Big City Collage 24-hour puzzle marathon that I did, part 1. So yeah, if you can pop in on the chat, and watch that with me. That will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. UK time. So check that out. Click notify me, and I will see you all then. So thank you again, Rose. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.